Welcome back to Jacques in the Garden. Today we are talking all about cover crops. And right next to me in this field, I have two growing right now. The first one is Pacific Gold Mighty Mustard. The second is the Fava bean that you see right there in the back. Now, both of these I'm growing for a specific purpose. Every single cover crop solves a different problem for you in the garden. And the great thing about it is that it solves it by just using plants that you grow. And the cool thing about it is that you get to grow these big fields of a monocrop that look pretty cool when they're all hanging out in the garden. Now, there are, of course, mixes of cover crops. They don't have to be a monocropped one. But in this case, I had one very specific problem to solve, which is why I went with this Pacific Gold mustard. First, let's talk about why I chose this mustard. And the reason is Root Knot Nematodes. Now, Root Knot Nematodes are an annoying pest that are microscopic. They live in your soil and they bite and dig into the roots of your plants, in particular solanaceous things like tomatoes, peppers, eggplant. And what they do is they bite the roots, cause them to swell, so you get these root knots, and those knots actually strangle the vascular system of the plant, stop water and nutrients from flowing up and down into the plant, and basically what you end up with is a plant, usually a tomato, that looks okay. It looks like it's fine, but it's not thriving. It doesn't seem to be producing as much. It's still green, it's still growing, but it's a little bit slow, and you have no idea what's wrong. So you wait maybe another week, maybe another month. I'll give it some fertilizer, I'll give it more water, see if I could bring it back, but it never comes back because it is fully infested with root knot nematode. The only way to know that you have this problem, unfortunately, is to dig down and look at the roots, or to entirely yank the plant and look at the roots themselves. You'll see all the swollen roots. They look truly like knots tied into the roots, and that is a surefire sign that you've got the root knot nematode. Now, the thing about cover crops in general when it comes to termination is that everyone has a different rule of thumb for when you want to kill it for it to be most effective. When it comes to most cover crops, it's generally once they flower. Now, this mighty mustard has begun to flower, so it is time to now terminate it. And all that means is we're going to chop it really finely and incorporate it into the soil. My second favorite cover crop, and the one that I probably use the most often, is right here. It's the fava bean. And fava beans are a really wonderful cover crop for one reason in particular, and that is that they are one of the best producers of nitrogen around, which means that when they are flowering, which is what you see here, then these plants are loaded up with nitrogen, in particular down at their root level. So by chopping and dropping this plant, we're going to be increasing the nitrogen available in the soil for whatever plants come in the future. Now, the thing you want to not do is let this entire plant go to actual bean production. When you see the flowers, that means that the nitrogen is peaking in the plant. When you start to see the beans forming, that means that the beans are actually using the nitrogen in order to form those pods. So right here is the magical sweet spot. The plant is tall, it is covered in flowers, it has just started to produce beans, and that means we're going to get some incredible nitrogen delivery in the soil wherever they were growing. And in terms of how we're going to terminate this cover crop, it's the exact same way. We're going to chop it really finely, then we're going to drop it by covering it all in compost, which we'll do after I finish chopping. Now that everything's been chopped, it's been dropped, I've brought forth the soil, it's nice and loose. The next thing to do is to bury it. Now, traditionally this would be tilled under using a tractor, but I'm not going to do that. Instead, I'm going to just bury this in some compost. I got my compost re-up just about a month ago. So I have a big old pile sitting over by the driveway. I'm going to start shoveling it in here. We want to fully bury this mustard. Once we fully bury it, there's one very crucial step in order for this to actually work the way we want it to. So I'm actually going to get that started before I go hauling compost. So you might have guessed that that important step is water. In order for this mustard to break down and form those compounds that kill the root knot nematodes, it needs to be very wet while it's buried. So I'm going to start it off by wetting the whole ground, all the leaves, then I'm going to add the compost and water that in as well. What that should do is basically create a perfect environment for those compounds to break down and be released into the soil. So I'm going to let this water for a few minutes, and then we're going to bury it in compost. The next thing to do is to deeply water this entire bed. I just piled on a bunch of dry compost, and now I did water the ground before, but not for that long. So I'm going to let this sprinkler run for anywhere from 30 minutes to maybe an hour. We want to really soak this to help all those compounds break down. And then in about 30 days, it should be fully broken down and ready to plant. I could probably plant it in about 2 weeks, since even though it's winter here, it's not actually that cold. Now, we do have to go deal with another bed that has the cover crop and get that one done, but I'm going to turn on the sprinkler and I'll meet you over there. So now we have to deal with this 4x8 bed right here. This is actually the first bed where I put the mustard, but boy, does it not look happy. There's even yellowing leaves. So there's definitely a problem with the soil in general because these leaves should not be turning yellow while this plant is so young. Even my fava beans are a bit stunted here compared to the ones in that other bed. So I think in general, this bed is lacking moisture, it's lacking nutrition. So by doing a chop and drop here, we should help build up the soil, especially with the compost that we're going to top on top of it. So I don't have as vigorous of a stand of the plants as you could see. It's much more patchy, they're much smaller, they're not even flowering. So I did save some of the mustard from the other patch, and we're gonna supplement this bed with the mustard that's already in there, with the mustard that I saved from the other patch. Now, since this is a much smaller bed, actually, I probably still will use the hedge trimmer, but if it's too cumbersome, I might just go in hands mode. All of the cover crop has now been chopped, dropped, watered, covered in compost, and watered again. It is now well on its way to break down in anywhere between 2 to 4 weeks. So we'll check back in that time frame to see how the breakdown is doing, if it looks like it's working, if everything's broken down, and then I'll mention when is the right time to plant. You don't want to plant too early into a chop and drop because right now this is going to heat up, it's going to start breaking down, it's going to settle. It's not a great place for a transplant to survive in. So I'll see you in 2 or maybe 4 weeks. It's now been 4 weeks since I chopped that mustard cover crop and incorporated it into the soil, buried it with compost, and watered it deeply. And I decided to wait for the 4 weeks, mostly because I wanted it to be fully, entirely broken down. And I'm happy to say that it is indeed totally broken down. The only thing I could really see in here now are some stems occasionally that were maybe too thick, maybe some fibers from the plants that broke down. But the other thing I'm seeing is that there are tons and tons of worms throughout the soil there that love to break down that mustard cover crop and spread it throughout the soil. So I think this was a success. I feel confident that I could plant tomatoes in this particular bed here without the root knot nematode problem being a real issue, honestly, or a problem for lack of a better term. So now that we've covered this bed, I could safely plant into this, everything will thrive, and my tomatoes should be safe. Let's go check the bigger bed in the garden where there was a lot more matter to incorporate into the soil. Over here in the big bed, the results are effectively the same. Everything has broken down quite nicely. I don't see like any leaf matter left. The only thing that's really persistent are the stems from that mustard. Now in this bed, the mustard grew much taller, much thicker, is much more vigorous and woody even. So I'm not too surprised that there are a lot of these stems that are still hanging out and sticking out of the soil. It's not the most aesthetic thing in the world, but it is at least all dead and decaying. So that means that it'll be organic matter. It shouldn't regrow, should not be a nuisance. And of course, all of that juicy leaf matter that we incorporated is fully broken down, releasing all of those compounds that should have killed off those bad nematodes. So this patch is now also officially ready to be planted into, which is really great because I have a bunch of onions that really need to get into the ground. So I'm going to do 4 rows of onions here in the front where I have these skinny little drip lines, and then I'll figure out what to do in the back here, but it'll probably just be more brassicas. So was it worth growing this specific cover crop to tackle root knot nematode? I can't really say for sure. I have to wait until I plant my tomatoes, pull those plants out, and look at the roots to know for certain whether I actually solved this problem. But at the very least, I increased the soil organic matter content. I gave my soil a break from growing a heavy fruiting crop, and I will have better soil regardless. Now, there are a lot of different reasons to grow cover crop, whether it's to increase nitrogen in the soil by growing something like a legume, such as peas, or you just want to increase the organic matter content of your soil or fumigate for fungal diseases. There's a whole world of cover crops out there that can do a lot for you in the garden. I highly recommend that you try them. Now, this one did take quite a while since I did it in the winter time. It took about 3 to 4 months because I had to grow it all out. Then I had to chop it, incorporate it into the soil, and let it break down for a month. If I did this in the summer, it would be 2 months or maybe even 6 weeks only because things grow so much faster. They also break down faster because it's warmer. So if you maybe live somewhere that's really hot and has a horrible summer, cover cropping might be a great way to break up that season and boost your plants for that fall, cooler part of the year where plants can still thrive. I have to say I'm very happy with the results of the soil. I could already tell it feels much richer. It's much thicker to grab onto. There's tons of organic matter in there. It's going to retain water really well. And these onions, all 128 of them that I'm about to transplant, are going to absolutely love it. So thanks for watching. I'll see you guys next time.